The compound light microscope. One thing to note when using a light microscope is how to carry it. Put one firm hand on the arm, which is the top hand, and one on the base, and carry it like this. This way you'll be able to protect the lenses and also keep all the finely working parts in working order. And place it gently on the table like this. At each workstation, you will have a power source at which you can plug in your light microscope. Now there are many important parts of the microscope that we'll be using in the class. First part are the oculars, or the eyepieces, which are located on the top of the device. This is where you'll look in to see the specimen. These are connected to the body of the microscope by the nose piece, which is the part that connects the oculars to the rest of the microscope. The main part here is the stage. This is the moving part of the microscope that will enable you to move your specimen and find in the ocular what you're trying to see. On the rotating nose piece here are your objective lenses. These are the lenses of various power which will allow the magnification of your subject. On the back part of the microscope are the coarse and fine focus knobs. The smaller knob is the fine focus, which will allow the lenses to adjust slightly to provide better clarity and focus. The larger knob is the coarse focus, which will move the stage at greater increments, allowing for a rougher focus of your subject. One thing that you'll be able to see better on your scopes is the stage clip. It's right here on the top of the stage, and what that enables you to do is securely place your slide on the stage and maneuver it as thus. And you're able to maneuver the stage using these knobs. The one that moves to the left and the right is the lower knob, and the top knob moves the stage back and forth. This will be something you'll be able to use to find the specimen on your slide once it's clipped onto the stage with the stage clips. Other pieces of your microscope are your light source, which is right here in the center, which provides the backlighting, and that light source is empowered by the switch in the front of your scope. So now that we've gone over a majority of the pieces of the microscope that we'll be using in class, let's learn how we can create a wet mount slide that then we can put on our microscope and examine. Part of your laboratory will involve you creating a wet mount slide. One of the tips in creating a wet mount slide is handling your glass slide properly. Because you don't want to contaminate or pollute the glass slide, it's best to handle this by the edges. Also, as you see in this video, I'm not wearing gloves. If you saw my face, you'll also notice that I'm not wearing goggles either. Because there is low risk of danger in this activity, we will not be wearing the prescribed safety precautions, goggles or gloves. But the only real safety procedure we should follow is the handling of glass. Since we are working with something that is breakable, it is very important to pay attention where your slide is at all times and what you're doing with that. But one note, we'll be working with euglena, which is a small unicellular organism that we'll be examining. And one of the ways we can create a wet mount slide with the euglena, there will be various samples around the room near your workstation to prepare your slide. And what you can do with your slide is place it down on your table. Once you place your slide on your table, you can take your sample of euglena and place a few drops on the center of the slide. Now you'll actually be working with a pipette when you're working with euglena. And one little tip is that the euglena like to hang around the food source, which looks like a corn kernel, in the center of your sample. Take your pipette and pump up and down a few times, and that will enable you to get a various sampling of the specimen, and then you'll be able to plate that directly onto your slide. Now that you have a small sample of a liquid on your slide, what you can do is take your glass cover slip, which is about this size, if you can see it there. And the secret about this is when you're holding it the same way that you did with your slide earlier, but one of the things you're going to do here, you want to avoid air bubbles within your sample. So the secret in when putting the cover slip on your glass slide is to place it at the end here, and my hand's in the way, but if you place it in the corner here, where it's in the solution, and then slowly drop it upon, the liquid should dissipate throughout the glass slide and avoid the air bubbles in there. So try this a few times in your sample. We do have enough euglena to go around, so try a few times to minimize the air bubbles in your glass slide in your wet mount preparation.